this talk about the 77 cents on the dollar that women earn versus men. This has been around for a decade, and Obama used it in his State of the Union speech. And now we have laws and policies that are aimed based on this myth. It is a lie. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to be very specific about it. A great piece in the American Spectator by Natalie Damasito. And she cites a radical feminist author by the name of Hannah Rosen, of all people. And she points out that 5 months ago, this radical feminist author, Rosen, took on this 77 cents issue that Obama used in his State of the Union speech, and it'll be repeated until we're all dead and gone. Because why? It serves a purpose. You can expand big government on lies and myths, and that's what they do. Because our society is actually very humane. It's very beneficent. That's why people come to this country, legally and illegally. But those who seek to reshape this society, to transform it, and us, they have to do this, don't they? So this radical feminist, not me, this radical feminist, she wrote, the official Bureau of Labor Department statistics show that the median earnings of full-time female workers is 77% of the median earnings of full-time male workers. But that is very different than 77 cents on the dollar for doing the same work as men. And I briefly touched on this last week. The statistic does not mean that the female factory worker standing next to a male factory worker is only making $7.25 an hour, while the male is making $8.02 an hour. When congregated in different professions than men do, and the largely male professions tend to be higher paying, if you account for those differences and then compare a woman and a man doing the same job, the pay gap narrows to 91%. So you could accurately say, this is this radical feminist writing, in the Obama ad that women get paid 91 cents on the dollar doing the same work as men. Many men tend to go into science and engineering fields, which generally pay more. Women who stay at home with children are factored in as earning nothing. Therefore, the 77-cent stat is a misleading one. She adds that the reason women are making less could largely depend on more complicated issues, such as maternity leave, marriage, and a lack of child care options. Debates on those topics can be saved for another day. What deserves immediate attention, she writes, is the citing of one of the most important reasons that women make less than men. You ready? Quote, women just don't want to work the same way men do, unquote. From the radical feminist. Now, that doesn't mean every single woman listening to this show doesn't want to work the same way a man works, but it means as a group, it's true. It's true if you just observe, if you just look with your two eyes. It's just biologically the case that women deliver children, if they wish to, and they want to nurture their children. They don't just turn them over to some institution and never see them again. And thank God for that, nurturing the next generation. And men do too, but differently. So that's not factored in. And that's quite obvious if you think about it, isn't it? But it doesn't help grow government. It doesn't help empower government unless we lie about it. Unless we perpetuate this myth, this 77% myth, like all these other myths, that illegal aliens will somehow be the wealth producers, when they won't be. That illegal aliens will somehow become country club Republicans. As a group, they won't be. Or other lies, that certain people in certain communities can't get a voter ID in order to vote. Well, of course they can. They're required to get it for a whole host of government reasons, local, state, and federal. Yes, the government, more and more, because of the utopian statist agenda, is built on a bunch of lies. And they drag this nation over the cliff promoting these lies. And they know them not to be true, but these people are power-hungry. They're agenda-driven, and nothing else matters. Doesn't matter how cold it is. Oh, carbon dioxide. Doesn't matter how many schools are in deficit, how many hospitals are closing along the border, what law enforcement says about not securing the border. It just doesn't matter. And on we go, promoting amnesty. Doesn't matter how many people vote fraudulently, can't have a voter ID, even if it's free, even if the government gives it to you, because that's like a poll tax. How? and women earn 77 cents on the dollar doing the same job as a man, it is a flat-out lie. It's illegal. But that doesn't stop the lie, the myth, because we got a country to transform.